There is a silent force guiding your decisions, one you probably never noticed. Yet it has shaped your relationships, your habits, your fears, and even the people you choose to trust. What if I told you that some of your thoughts were never really yours? That certain emotions you feel, guilt, urgency, doubt, obligation, may have been planted in you by someone else, maybe long before you realized it. Think about it. Why do you sometimes feel an instant need to explain yourself, even when you've done nothing wrong? Why do you stay in certain situations long after your instincts tell you to leave? Why do you catch yourself replaying someone's words at night, wondering if you misunderstood or overreacted? These are not accidents. These are traps. Psychological traps designed to keep you in line, keep you small, keep you predictable, keep you controlled. And the most dangerous part, they don't feel like traps. They feel like responsibility. They feel like loyalty. They feel like love. They feel like your own thoughts whispering back at you. But what if those whispers were engineered? What if the real chains are invisible? In this video, you're going to discover the 5 psychological traps most people don't see until they're already tangled inside them. You'll understand why these traps work, how they quietly rewire your decision-making, and how to break free from them before they consume your identity. You'll see real-world patterns, everyday manipulations, and subtle emotional hooks that many people mistake for normal human behavior. But these are not normal. These are systems of influence carefully calibrated, psychologically precise, and far more common than you think. The first trap is the illusion of obligation. This is the feeling that you owe someone something simply because they gave you attention, kindness, or help at some point in time. Manipulators exploit this trap by offering just enough warmth to make you feel indebted, and then they pull back, leaving you with a lingering sense of guilt if you don't comply. Think of the friend who does you a favor, and then acts cold for days when you don't immediately return it, or the partner who points out everything they've done for you whenever they want something. The illusion of obligation hijacks your moral wiring. Humans are wired to reciprocate, and when someone weaponizes that instinct, you become emotionally predictable. You act not from free choice, but from guilt, and guilt is one of the deepest anchors of control. The second trap is identity confusion. This happens when someone slowly dismantles your sense of self by questioning your decisions, challenging your preferences, or subtly mocking your interests. Over time, you begin relying on their approval to define who you are. You hesitate before speaking. You second-guess your own instincts. You wait for their feedback before making choices that used to feel natural. The moment your identity becomes tied to another person's validation, they gain access to the core of your psychology. They don't need chains. They just need you to doubt yourself. Once that seed of doubt has been planted, it grows quietly. You start thinking, maybe they're right. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, and with every self-doubt, your autonomy fades a little more. This trap doesn't feel like manipulation, it feels like self-improvement, but it's self-erasure disguised as guidance. The third trap is emotional unpredictability. People who want control over you rarely treat you consistently. They alternate between warmth and coldness, praise and criticism, attention and withdrawal. This trains your brain into a psychological state known as intermittent renforcement, the same mechanism casinos used to keep gamblers hooked. You never know which version of the person you're going to get. The uncertainty becomes addictive. You work harder for their affection. You become hyper-focused on pleasing them. And without realizing it, their approval becomes a currency you're desperate to earn. Emotional unpredictability destabilizes your nervous system, making you more vulnerable to influence. It's not love. It's conditioning. The fourth trap is narrative control. This happens when someone rewrites situations in a way That favors them and disarms you. They distort facts, reshape conversations, and reinterpret your emotions for you. They'll say things like, "That's not what happened. You're remembering it wrong, or you took it the wrong way over time." They train you to distrust your own perception. And once you stop trusting your own perception, you depend on theirs. This is the foundation of gaslighting, not the dramatic version you see in movies, but the quiet, almost polite version that slips beneath your awareness. When someone controls the narrative, they control the past. And whoever controls the past controls your decisions in the present. The fifth trap is emotional debt. This is when someone convinces you that you are responsible for their feelings, whether it's their sadness, their anger, their loneliness, or their disappointment. They sigh loudly when they're upset and wait for you to rescue them. They say things like, "You made me feel this way," or "If you cared, you'd understand." They portray themselves as fragile, overwhelmed, or wounded so that you step into the role of caretaker. And the more you carry their emotions, the less space you have for your own. Emotional debt is one of the most suffocating traps because it convinces you that leaving, setting boundaries, or saying no makes you a bad person. But their emotions were never your responsibility to begin with. The moment you identify these traps, the spell begins to break. You start seeing the patterns that once felt invisible. You notice when guilt is being used as a leash, when doubt is being injected into your confidence, when someone's inconsistency is not a flaw but a strategy. You begin reclaiming the mental territory that was quietly taken from you. And with each step back into your own mind, their power fades. Because here's the truth most people never realize. Psychological traps don't control you by force. They control you by permission. They use your empathy, your loyalty, your decency, and your desire for harmony as tools against you. They make you feel responsible for the emotional balance of a relationship. That was never balanced to begin with. But once you see the mechanism behind the manipulation, the mechanism stops working. If this video opened your eyes, make sure you subscribe for more hidden mind codes. New psychological breakdowns every week. Stay aware, stay grounded, and never let anyone turn your kindness into a cage.